Okay, we'll take first question up here, Mike, in this first row.
Mike Singer, Denver Post. Michael, I'm sure you watched the game film from last night in accordance of preparing for tomorrow night in Game 4. During that process, do you find yourself kind of being able to remove yourself and say, wow, I just saw history in the making in Joker and Jamal, or is it just totally focused, locked in, and it's just like adjustments for tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, as I watched the film, as we watched it as a staff and then with the team, it was nothing about, the historical night that it was. We're addressing all the areas where we have to be better. Too many turnovers, too many offensive rebounds. And so, yeah, it was nothing celebrating the great nights that Nicole and Jamal had. More importantly, it's about how can we find a way to come out tomorrow night and get another one here in Miami, heading home to Denver for Game 5.
Third row on the left.
Hey, Michael. Paul Klee, Denver Gazette. Joker seems to figure things out really quickly, almost like a problem solver. He puts the puzzle together. When you're watching film with him, how would you describe that? Is it what we see, that he is that problem solver in the film room as well?
Well, I think it's was evident from early on in his career in Denver is that really high IQ, sees things before they happen, a step ahead of most people. And what you love about him is, offensively, no matter what is thrown at him, he has an answer. And he's seen everything in his 8 years that you could conceivably come up with as a defensive game plan. And he doesn't fight it. That's one thing I love about Nicole. He takes what the game brings. And that's what makes him special. He's able to make everyone around him better. He's able to read the game plan, read the floor, read the defense, and make the right play seemingly every time. And there's not many players that are that heady, especially doing it at the stage that he's doing it on right now, Paul. So it's really a luxury to have a player that is not only as talented as he is, but unselfish and with the IQ that he has.
Tony, back right.
Coach Tony Jones from The Athletic. After Game 2, Miami, you weren't happy with Miami's efficiency from the three-point line. Obviously, going back to Game 1 as well, you talked about the open shots that you guys yielded. They were a lot less efficient from the three-point line in Game 3. Also, simultaneously, you took away some of their efficiency inside the arc. What are some of the defensive adjustments that you made in the macro sense? Were you happy with the effort defensively last night?
Very happy with the defensive effort. You look at the numbers across the board, Tony, and our guys were so much more locked in, so much more urgent and aggressive in Game 3 than we were in Game 2. And for me, I can't speak for any other coach. Like, when you lose a game, the first reaction isn't we have to change the game plan. For me, the first reaction is are we executing the game plan correctly? And in Game 2, we didn't. That led to countless mistakes, and which led to a lot of points for Miami where we could have been a lot better. So last night, only 11 made threes. The defense was much better. The communication and discipline was much better. And that is what I'm most proud about, is the buy-in, commitment, urgency that we had. And it'll have to be even better tomorrow night. If you go back to Game 1, they made 13 threes in that game. I think 6 were in the fourth quarter. So for 3 quarters, we did a great job of guarding the three, and then that 21-point lead got knocked down to 9 because we opened up the three-point line. Game 2 was 17, way too many. So I think a big message for our guys is we want them to try and beat us with tough twos and eliminate the threes as much as possible.
Joe, front left.
Joe Varden, also from The Athletic. Last night after the game, it seemed like Jamal was attending to a cut on his left hand. Is he okay?
Oh, he's fine. Yeah, just a floor burn.
Ohm right here.
Michael Omi, almost like ESPN. You had spoken about this earlier in the series about Nicola's defense. Last night, Miami shot 3 for 19 when he was contested by him as a primary help defender, and Bam was 1 for 10. Was that his best? And he had 2 blocks. Was that his best defensive game? What are you seeing from him on this stage of how he's doing defensively?
Well, I think it's often, when you look at Nicola, so many people just use an eye test to debate whether he's a good defender or not. And that is just almost unjust, if you will, because you have to get past the eye test. You have to look at all the things that he does. He has great awareness, great IQ, great anticipation, tremendous hands to break things up. They shot 34% in the restricted area last night. Nicola was a big part of that. Nicola contested 21 shots last night. He had 2 blocks. So he's doing a lot for us to get to this stage in the finals, and then for us to have a great defensive performance last night. His fingerprints were all over that game. So is he going to go above the rim and block a shot or pin something to the backboard? He's not going to do that, and stop expecting to do that. But if you really know what you're looking at, which a lot of people don't, you take a real sense of, okay, this guy is a good defensive player, and he's doing it with an IQ and an awareness that a lot of people just don't have. So I thought Nicola was tremendous last night, as was the rest of our group.
Mike?
Michael, when you were assessing Jamal's night and talking about him last night post-game, you said that he had a presence about him that you were able to sense or glean or something to that effect. What did you mean by that? When he has a presence about him, how does that impact it, and what does that tangibly look like?
Well, for me, in my conversations with Jamal coming out of Game 2, going into Game 3, just reiterating to him how important he is to this group. And not just a 30-10-10 night, but more than that. Like, he's a leader of this team, and not just vocally, but emotionally. And I felt in Game 2 he was there, but I just didn't feel him. Like I know I have felt him throughout these playoffs. And being in the moment and feeling his energy, like I think that's a big thing for me. Reading somebody, seeing where are they at mentally, where are they at physically. Forget making and missing shots, but I could tell from early on in Game 3 last night that Jamal was fully present in the moment and was ready and willing and able to do whatever it took to lead this team to a big win. And from the opening tip to the final buzzer, I felt Jamal was just that.
Steve, right here, second row.
Steve Ashman at NBA.com. Michael Porter's minutes were down last night. His shooting has been off. How challenging is it to keep someone like him locked in and feeling that he's contributing, even when he might sense the meat and potatoes of his game he's not helping you with?
Well, I mean, I think so many people are quick to dismiss people. And so Michael Porter is not making shots right now. And we know he's a great shooter. We know what he's capable of. But he had 7 rebounds last night, and he had some really good defensive possessions and possessions in which he contested shots and was working on that end. And in this business, if you are just a specialist, we're not for you. We don't like specialists. We like basketball players. So if Michael Porter is not making shots, he has to find a way to help impact winning through being an unselfish player on offense, being a defensive-minded player, being somebody that rebounds the basketball. And his shot is going to fall. If he's taking the right shots and we're generating the right shots for him, I want KCP, 2 guys that we know are better than they showed in 3 games. They got to keep shooting the ball because that's the only way they're going to get out of that slump. But we believe in Michael. He's our starting small forward, and I have zero doubt that he's going to have a very big game coming up here that's going to help us win this championship.
Dan, back left.
Coach Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Sticking with shooting, Nicola, I think 47% from 3 in this postseason. Hasn't had a high volume of attempts in this series, but what does the threat of his shooting, knowing that he has that ability to shoot, what does that open up for your offense?
Yeah, I think it's critical. We have a great offense, period. But when Nicola is making threes, that puts so much more pressure on the opposing defense. And I think he has one of the best shot fakes in the NBA. And he is, for a big guy, he is great at attacking closeouts. So if you're shooting 40-plus from 3, and now teams are really worried about that, and they're running you off the line or closing to touch, he's shot faking or driving that closeout, and now you have a 6'10", 6'11", great passer getting downhill that's going to score. He's an uncanny finisher. He's going to find somebody working behind the defense for a lob, or he's going to kick it out and spray for a wide-open 3. So it's not just the 3 points that he's making, but the pressure and the added layer is putting it against that defense. And it's really fun to watch him pick, pop, shoot. Oh, we got to run him off the line. Pick, pop, drive to close out, layup, or spray, or make a play for somebody else. And that is what defines him for me as a truly great player, is because every night his ability to make every one of his teammates better players.
Coach, thank you very much. Jamal will be next.
Thank you, guys.